Good afternoon from Big Sky Country. I'm Stacy, owner of Montana Used Bricks. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about the cons of selling used parts. I'm bringing this up today because I've had a couple of issues in the past couple of weeks that have made me realize that selling used parts is not the easiest thing to do. And I did another video about selling used versus new, but that was more of where to get the parts. I've made up a list of 3 things that I think make it difficult to sell used parts versus selling new parts. And the first one I want to talk about is the amount of work that goes into selling used parts. When you're selling used parts, you're generally buying in bulk. And when you're buying in bulk, you have to do a lot of sorting. And it's very time consuming because not only do you need to sort out the quality of bricks, you're sorting out to make sure that everything is Lego and removing all the non-Lego parts. You're looking for that quality. You're looking for parts that you want to add to your store. You have to handle each part a number of times before it actually goes into inventory. So it's a very time consuming process. When you're putting new parts in and you're parting out a set, it's very easy to do. You know exactly what's there and you know the quality of it. And you generally only have to handle it once or twice. Once to get it out of the box and the bags, and then once to put it away. So it's a lot easier to do the new versus used, but there are some benefits to buying in bulk. You get those surprise parts that are worth a lot of money. I showed one in my last vlog where I had a part that I had had that specific part before, but never in that color. Come to find out, it was a rare part in red, and it only appears in one set, a pirate set from the 90s. That part sold for $36. Those are rare, but they are what make selling used parts fun. It's always fun to put parts in and go, whoa, wait, how much was that? And go and look and see what sets it was in, or try to figure out why that part is selling so much more than parts in a different color. So there's also a lot of fun involved in buying those bulk lots, but it is a lot of work. The second con or negative thing about selling used is trying to determine what is good enough to go into your inventory. I did a video a while back about an order I received of used parts, and they were still good parts. There wasn't a lot wrong with them, but it's just something that I personally wouldn't have put in my store. And that brings up the whole what I might consider acceptable, somebody else may not consider acceptable, or what I don't consider acceptable, somebody else might. That's probably one of the more difficult aspects of selling the used parts, is trying to determine what is good enough to go in your store. How much time do you spend in trying to figure out, should I put this in my store? Do I need to put a description? Would this sell? And you have to make that determination for yourself. Each store is different. Mine, obviously, I sell used parts. It's right in the name. People are coming into my store realizing they're getting used parts. With that in mind, I still have to sell quality, good used parts. I can't just put anything in my store. And I've talked about this before. When I first started, I did. I put everything in. I didn't care. But I started to get some neutral feedback that was saying, hey, the parts weren't what I expected. And so with every sort that I do and every time I upload, I'm getting a little bit pickier about what goes into my store. So I may not have as much as I had 3 or 4 years ago in inventory, but what I have now is better quality than what I had 3 or 4 years ago. There are parts that I will put in even though they're scratched or marked up or maybe a little banged up, but I will put that in the description. And I do that usually because it's a part that's hard to find and it's an older, unique, rare part. And I know that somebody out there will probably want it. When you buy new and you're parting out sets, you already know the quality. You know they're going to be new, you know what they're going to look like. Yes, some of the parts might be a little bit scratched from being in the bag together, but for the most part, you're going to have that shine on all those parts. You're not going to have that with used parts. And you have to figure out for yourself what you consider good quality and put that in your store. And always think of it as, what would I want to receive? If I was building a mock or recreating a set from my childhood, what kind of parts would I want for that creation? I've been using that a lot lately, especially with rebuilding some of the older modular buildings. The third thing on my list, and this is the thing that gets me, I don't want to say in trouble, but screws up quite a few orders for me, is the miscataloguing. When you have new parts and you're parting out a set, you know exactly what is in there, you know exactly how many parts, of what color, and either using Brick Store or Bricklink, you're going to have what you need to be uploaded. When you're doing used parts, it's totally up to you on what goes into inventory. And no matter how careful I am, I screw it up when I upload it to Bricklink. I use Brick Store, and a lot of times I will forget to change the amount from one part to the next. I will forget to change the color. I will click on the wrong part and upload the wrong part. I've had a lot of issues, and that's kind of what brought this video up, is I had some parts that were missing, but they weren't really missing as such because I never had them. What had happened was I either put the wrong amount in, or I even put the wrong part in, or the wrong color. Because I'll go to a drawer and I'll see that there's 4 black parts in there, but on the Bricklink inventory it's showing 2 black and 2 white. So I know that I forgot to change the color in Brick Store when I click to add those parts. There's a lot of that going on, and that makes it difficult because it makes me look like I'm not handling my inventory well, but I'm just doing the best I can. And I always have that moment of panic when I can't find a part that I've told a customer I do, because my first thought is always, this is going to be my first negative because I don't have the part they want. Thankfully, nobody has done that to me, and for those of you that are watching that have ordered from my store and I've screwed up your order, thank you for being very understanding. But it is really hard when you're dealing with used parts because, like I said, you have to handle each part, you have to look at each part, you have to figure out what that part is, what color that is, and then you have to get it into either Brick Store or Bricklink correctly. So there's a lot that goes in behind the scenes. Another reason I'm bringing this up today is because I've had quite a few people that have commented that they're either opening a store or they're looking into getting used parts, because it's my understanding that new parts are getting harder and harder to find at a rate that makes it worthwhile. And I just want to bring up a few of these points to keep in mind when you are going to be moving into the used part selling. I don't want to deter you from that because I need used parts, and I'm hoping that if I don't have them, you'll have them. So I'm not saying, oh, don't sell used parts. I'm just saying that a lot more work goes into it, and you really have to take that into consideration, especially if you have family obligations or work obligations, or you're just not to a point where you're able to put the time and effort in to sell used parts. It does take a long time, and I've noticed there's been a couple of videos I've watched where people have talked about hiring people to help them sort. And I do have my mom helping me quite a bit. My husband helps quite a bit as well. So I do have people who help me. I personally would rather spend all my time just sorting, cataloging, and putting parts into inventory. If I could hire somebody to just pull the parts and process the orders, I'd be a happy camper, because for whatever reason, my organizational need is filled by sorting and cataloging used parts. And that's why I enjoy doing this so much. So I hope these points help you out. I just wanted to put this out there. I have my list of the top 3 things that make selling used more difficult than new. If you're a used seller, I would be curious if there's something that I may have missed or something that you find more difficult in selling the used versus the new, and put that in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and give it that thumbs up. If you really liked it, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.